Joining us today is Doug Sexsmith, President and CEO of the Workers' Compensation Board of Manitoba. He'll be speaking at IIR's National Workers' Compensation Summit, which takes place on the 21st to 22nd of February 2011 in Surfers Paradise. Hello Doug, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
First of all, how does the Canadian approach to workers' compensation claims compare with the Australian methodology, and what lessons can be learned?
Well, overall, I would say the two schemes are really quite similar. I would point out a couple of differences, though. Canada has no private sector involvement at all in the managing of workers' compensation. We have 10 provinces and 3 territories who run schemes, and they're all run by agencies of government. So the main difference. So I guess I would point that out to be the main difference, really. And I think in terms of what we can learn, there's a great deal to be learned in comparing the two schemes, and I look forward to a good deal of discussion about that during the conference.
How can you prevent injuries and build a safety culture while supporting safe and timely return to work?
Well, of course, the two are not mutually exclusive. In terms of preventing injuries, there are a number of tools that you can use. One that is used across the world is social marketing, of course, to try to build a health and safety culture. And another one, just as an example that I would point out, is the use of industry associations, where you can really get groups of employers on side and who can do a number of constructive things through the use of these associations. On the return to work side, a couple of the main tools that you can use, of course, are education, which is something that we engage in and that I'll talk about further at the conference. And you could, of course, teach our staff and educate our staff in how to support employers through the return-to-work process. And it's very important that we partner with all of the parties involved, whether it be labor unions, employers, and the actual injured worker, in putting together effective return-to-work programs.
How can an employer strengthen service delivery to workers and employers?
Well, of course, it's a matter of priorities. You really want to create a service culture within an organization. You know, you can do things such as setting service targets around some of your key areas, and you can measure, of course, your success against those targets. And of course, you can recognize your employees for meeting those various targets. And in terms of improving service delivery, of course, you can always look at the processes that you have underway, whether it be through business transformation or through various information technology options. And of course, it's very important to involve your stakeholders in this process. You always want stakeholder feedback, whether it be through consultative processes or through surveying them to get their feedback on your various processes and service delivery options.
Can you outline the process of enhancing stewardship in the current environment?
Well, there again, I think it's really a matter of focus. You know, I think it's effective planning for such things as I mentioned earlier, business process changes, IT projects, setting of sustainable rates for premium employers, and comprehensive cost management across all of your important priorities.
You're speaking at IIR's National Workers' Compensation Summit 2011, which takes place on the 21st to 22nd of February in Surfers Paradise. What will you be discussing in your presentation?
Well, I plan to focus, James, on trends in Canadian workers' compensation. And what I'll talk about there are what are some of the trends in terms of injuries that are taking place, some of the key activities going on across the country around safety and injury prevention, and some of the activities that various areas in the country are undertaking around supporting safe and timely return to work while continuing to manage resources through effective stewardship.
Doug Sexsmith, many thanks for your time today.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.